Hello there and welcome back. I thought I'd give you a quick update on the progress of my Range Rover P38 Holland and Holland, and in this video I was just quickly going to explain the history and how I came upon it. So I'm a real P38 fan, had a few over the years. Anyway, one day I was just searching on Copart auction and I spotted this and I thought, geez, I'm sure that's a Holland and Holland. It wasn't listed as a Holland and Holland as you see in the original photos. I mean, it looked pretty messy, but I mean, I searched through the photos and I convinced myself it was a Holland and Holland. So I did an HPI check on it, and yeah, it came up straight away, Holland and Holland, and one owner. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. So I bid accordingly, and ironically, it went for a ridiculously low amount. But at the end of the auction, it was a privately entered car into the auction. It didn't meet its reserve. So I actually bid on it for further two consecutive auctions. There was a buy it now price, if I remember correctly, but it was exceptionally high, and I wasn't prepared to pay that amount. So yeah, the first two went through for just a few pound, a few £100, which is incredible. Nobody else really spotted it if it was on there for sort of 3 consecutive weeks. So eventually, on the third time, I got in contact with Copart, backwards and forwards, and eventually we agreed on the price. Now, because there was so much haggling between the prices, I presumed when it was privately entered that the person selling it, had a figure in mind. So I presumed the owner had entered it into the auction. Anyway, when I got home, got the logbook, I did some research on the registered owner's address, and lo and behold, I found his house up for sale as well. And his house was up for sale for £15 million, and it was in Hazelmere in Surrey, and it was a farm. And looking at the photos and the pictures of the house, it was absolutely amazing. It was certainly worth 15 million. So the one and only owner was obviously an exceptionally wealthy man. There's certainly no doubt about that. So what I believe has happened is the car had been off the road for 10 years as well. It came off the road in about 2010. So what I believe happened, and I haven't managed to speak to him because I tried to get in contact, couldn't get in contact with him whatsoever, or anyone on telephone numbers. He had a website, nothing. Just couldn't get in contact with anyone. So all of this is just what I think happened. He bought the car brand new, drove it for about 10 years, and then there was something very strange that I couldn't figure out about this car, is the rear tyres on the back of this car were brand new when it was taken off the road. Not just, when you buy a second-hand car and the man you buy it off says, oh yeah, it's got 2 brand new tyres, and you're thinking, yeah, they were new 10,000 miles ago. No, these were brand new tyres, still had the bubbles on the middle, absolutely brand new tyres. So I thought it was very strange to get 2 new tyres on the car and then take it off the road the same day, and I mean, it really was like that. So once we'd got the engine sorted, that was just the HT leads, and we drove around, we found out it was the gearbox that was causing the problems. Now, me being me, thinking it was off the road for 10 years, I changed the gearbox oil, but when I drained the gearbox oil out, the gearbox oil was brand new, absolutely, also brand new, with a brand new filter. So what I came to the summary or conclusion was that actually what happened is he was having problems with the gearbox. He took it to his local dealer, like me, thought, oh, well, it'll just be the gearbox oil. So had the gearbox oil changed and 2 new tyres put on the same day. Drove home, the gearbox was still defective, so he just parked it up in a field, hence it being sat in a field for 10 years. So then how did it end up in the auction? Well, the fact that his house was on the market for 15 million and I couldn't get in contact with anyone, and the fact that this car was in the auction, I've got a funny feeling that he actually passed away, and the executor of the will, or of the estate, had to get rid of everything. So they put the house up on the market and just put this car into the local auction. And the price haggling, I think they must have just, the business must have just had a value and written in the books of, that car's still worth £10,000 or whatever, and hence why they'd given Copart the value that they wanted from the sale of the car, which they didn't get. I certainly paid a little bit less than what they thought it was worth. So that's my theory behind it. I've got no evidence to prove it, but yeah, I know the name and the address of the man who originally had it, and I just can't find any information about him. So how are we doing with the progress of it? we're actually doing really well. Had gearbox and transfer box swapped over from the donor car, and now it drives absolutely brilliantly, no problems whatsoever. So again, just been going through slowly. As I said, I want to do a really good restoration, and it's actually booked in for its MOT tomorrow. When I had the gearbox done, I had my mechanic go right the way through, front to back, because I wanted to try and get it to pass with no advisories whatsoever. So I'll do another video in the next few days, let you know how we did with the MOT and what work I have done on it. But yeah, that's the history of it. I'm surprised nobody else spotted it in Copart, or perhaps they did, and everybody else thought, well, it's just not worth bidding on. But I mean, a car like this must be worth a fortune in parts. I mean, if you try and buy a Holland part, you pay ludicrous amounts of money. So yeah, the amount of time I spent actually trying to save it, I do wonder, financially, it probably would have been far better to dismantle it. But then you're never going to get another one-owner Holland and Holland, are you? I'll just give you a quick flick on. No logbook symbol, sat-nav works, radio works. I still haven't even given it a proper clean yet. But looking good. Actually, last time in the video, we had all the dashboard out, didn't we, as well? So yeah, I've got that all back in neatly and nicely now. Okay, I'll keep you updated on how the MOT goes.